The pandemic is a major policy problem for the Kremlin. It's a major problem because we've seen the number of reported cases in Russia, especially in Moscow, just mushroom. And it's not clear that the Kremlin has the ability to handle it. You have the very unusual situation where Mr. Putin is handing off responsibility to regional governors because he doesn't know what to do. So that's point one. Point two, the whole pandemic problem has led to a sharp drop in global demand for oil. And the Russian economy depends on hydrocarbons. Hydrocarbons are responsible for 40% of Kremlin exports, Kremlin export earnings. And suddenly they're not earning anything.
The overall important issue to keep in mind is the outcome. The outcome is to get the Russians out of Donbas and eventually out of Crimea, get the Russians out of Donbas, turn the Ukrainian territory back to Ukraine, so Ukraine has control over its sovereign territory and the border, including the control of the border. So that's the overall goal, as you say, and as we said. Minsk has not achieved that. Minsk is an old agreement. It's been around for a long time, and it can be built on. We can go beyond Minsk. We can try things. I say we, it's the international community, but in the first instance, it's going to be Ukraine. And Ukraine has done that. And I think that the experiments, the variations, the tests are a good idea. So beyond Minsk, as Kurt Volker knows, an international peacekeeping force is not in Minsk, but it's not inconsistent with Minsk. That idea has been around. We ought to explore that. Ukrainians ought to explore that. You mentioned the Normandy format. Normandy format has had some benefits, of course, but if it doesn't work, then there are other formats, or you could expand. It could be Normandy Plus, and there's some indication. We indicated that the Americans might well make a contribution. As John Herbst just said, President Trump and President Putin have a line of communication. That could be useful in the Normandy Plus format. There have been other experiments that Ukraine has tried. Ukraine has had some success in some of these and some failures in some of the others. That is the prisoner exchanges. Good idea. Move forward, establish some trust and some confidence. On the other hand, there was this flirtation with the Steinmeier format, and that turned out to be a bad idea. But the point is, it's urgent to solve this problem. It's urgent to get the Russians out of Donbas on Ukrainian terms. And so moving forward on several of these ideas, these experiments, I think is important, and you should have, and I hope will have, the continued support of the international community and even greater support from the United States.
The Minsk already served for the sake of the Ukrainian people. The idea was at least to have a full-fledged ceasefire. It's still not on the table, and I want to reiterate this. Yes, there is no, due to the Minsk process, we stopped full-fledged Russian military aggression into Ukraine, but Russia even refuses to implement and to execute one of the key pillars of the Minsk process, which is to stop the killing of Ukrainian people and Ukrainian soldiers. So there is no trust neither to Putin nor to the Russian government. But Russia has to realize that right now we live in completely different world. The oil prices are nose diving. So the same is going to happen with the approval rating of President Putin and with his entire red tape Soviet-style bureaucratic machine. They will be out of cash. So they will try to do their best in order to lift sanctions.
In terms of the resetting the peace process, I think I would agree with the Prime Minister that Minsk has not succeeded, but until there is something to replace Minsk, Ukraine probably needs to keep it. Because Minsk, importantly, is the basis for the European Union's sanctions on Russia. And you don't want to do away with that. And I also believe that the Minsk process keeps Chancellor Merkel and her French counterpart involved. And I think Merkel actually has done a very good job in keeping a fairly divided European Union together in terms of maintaining sanctions. Had you asked me back in 2014, what would be the prospect of the European Union maintaining sanctions on Russia for 6 years, and in fact strengthening those sanctions, I would not have been that optimistic. And I think the European Union has done a good job on that, and Minsk is the foundation. So the channel of peace building needs to sort of take Minsk as the basis and build on that, not just replace Minsk.
Putin sees a weak Ukraine as a target of opportunity. Therefore, it is vital that Ukraine become as strong a Ukraine as possible. And that strength is going to rest in financial stability, cleaning up the rule of law so that foreign investors feel confident, establishing a strong record of economic growth, pursuing consistent economic reforms with a good rule of law system, ultimately attracting foreign investment that will spur economic growth. If those things can all happen, Ukraine will become increasingly strong. And that's where I see is the real opportunity to change Putin's calculations.
It wasn't the West who attacked Russia. It is Russia who attacked the West, the Western values, and it is Russia who is attacking the I would say the normal standards of life and the best values of the Western society. Some people believe that they can cut the deal with Putin. I don't believe this. You can have the deal with Putin, but only on the terms and conditions set by President Putin. This is the only possibility which is on the table. You do remember all these different types of reset and reload policy, right, folks? Another type of policy is that we can get along with Putin. They all failed. We can have the dialogue with Putin only in case if we are strong, if we stay and stand shoulder to shoulder, if we stick to our values, and if we fight for each other. And this is the next question you asked, whether Ukraine can cope with all these challenges we are facing. Solemnly, I am not sure. But in case if we form one united front, as we already have this front with our American partners and with the European Union. So we can make it if we do it together. We already did it in 2013. Look, chances for Ukraine to survive were very low. And I do remember a number of debates in different capitals and in different areas of the world, and they were quite skeptical about the future of Ukraine. But despite this, we not just survived. We showed to the entire world that Ukraine is a European nation, and that we can fight, and we fight for our independence and for our future. So never give up. This is the only recipe I can say to everyone, not only in Ukraine, but to the entire globe.